Hello, my name is Allison Adams, and per my senior capstone course at the University of Florida, I decided to explore theories of sea level rise, particularly in relation to how the phenomenon impacts coastal communities in the state of Florida. Let's dive in. The UN Ocean Conference states that sea level rise leads to coastal erosion, inundations, storm floods, tidal waters encroachment into estuaries and river systems, contamination of freshwater reserves and food crops, loss of nesting beaches, as well as displacement of coastal lowlands and wetlands. Florida coastlines are home to dynamic environments and serve as economic engines that support various industries of commerce, fishing, transportation, and tourism alike. Approximately 15 million people are jammed predominantly along the coast, and more than half the population lives on coastal land below the 4-foot line. In addition, the state of Florida is accustomed to severe and unpredictable tropical weather events. However, anthropogenic factors have and will continue to increase the frequency of and severity of these natural disasters. What actually is sea level rise, though? Over the last century, human reliance on fossil fuels like coal and oil has enabled an influx of CO2 in the atmosphere, which in turn has increased the overall concentration of greenhouse gases in the environment. With a warming planetary atmosphere, it is more likely that glaciers and ice sheets will melt and seawater will expand. The result of increased sea levels is from a combination of global, regional, and local change. The main causes of sea level rise are bulleted below. The two major causes of global SLR are due to thermal expansion and increased melting of land-based ice. Why is it a matter of concern for Florida? The Miami-Dade Office of Resilience has proclaimed that though it may seem as though we have plenty of water to work with, it is actually our most precious resource and one that is facing many challenges today. Surrounded on all three sides of the state as the ocean begins to rise and acidify, it threatens numerous livelihoods, such as our shores, our rivers and aquifers, our infrastructure, our residential neighborhoods, and our regional economy. Florida's peninsula is made up of porous bedrock formations, such as limestone that acts as a sponge of sorts. The geological makeup of the bottom rock layer, in addition to the low topography, makes building effective seawalls or levees almost impossible. Residential real estate in Florida is highly vulnerable to SLR and climate change. Presently, average annual losses of residential real estate due to storm surge damages are $2 billion today and are estimated to increase to $4.5 billion by the year 2050. The more impeding problem is that of damage to urban infrastructure. As population rates increase at unprecedented rates and are concentrated in coastal areas, the infrastructure that supports the local and regional economy, treatment plants, water supply, and transportation highways are more susceptible to rising seas. I utilized sea level rise inundation scenarios from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration to create a visualization of SLR impacts on the Florida Peninsula. The levels are from low being 1 foot and extreme to 10 feet. This white feature depicts the encroachment of rising seas. Furthermore, for practical use, I employed a case study of 11 counties in Florida. The main objective was to understand the level of climate awareness present and available to the general public across 11 counties in Florida, as well as what local and state governments are doing to combat the climate crisis and the issue of sea level rise. After designing a survey and distributing it to local county managers, chief sustainability officers, and environmental specialists, there were a total of 4 survey responses. The reality of what lies ahead presents a fight or flight scenario, a choice in which a number of experts, policymakers, and Florida communities are still trying to make with complete confidence. Shuffling through the hysteria that comes with the issue of sea level change, with the issue of climate change has prompted a growing number of cities and governments across the globe to begin adapting to the present and projected impacts. And here you can see all the counties involved. It's an interactive map and you can click on it and it will zoom in as you go. Message from our leaders. In a spring interview with the City of Tampa's Sustainability and Resilience Officer, White Reamer noted that you have to know where you are to know where you're going. This statement may seem trivial, yet it is imperative realization of the threat we are facing right now that we must stop and think of how to mitigate it. Evaluating the survey results, issues of climate migration and funding were amongst the key facets regarding the challenges of climate change. The phenomenon of climate migration has much nuance surrounding the terminology. Other terms commonly used are strategic retreat and climate gentrification. Regardless of the term coined, counties that were surveyed almost seemed to tiptoe around this question, striking a red flag. Per the responses, many correspondents either neglected to answer or stated that some discussion was had regarding the issue. The reality is, rising seas directly stress infrastructure, capacity, and the ability of the economy to function routinely. Vulnerable areas are particularly threatened during extreme events such as storm surges and hurricanes, where citizens are displaced from their homes and forced to retreat to safe ground. Florida is already in the midst of increasing insurance costs due to coastal flooding, and these figures are exponential for the decades to come. Moreover, another key finding from the survey results was how critical a role funding plays in the development of coastal resilient initiatives. In the state of Florida, a majority of the funding is granted on the federal level. Local government agencies and nonprofit organizations are granted funding based on project proposal and design, such as engineering pilot projects. While some coastal communities across the globe are experiencing drastic effects much sooner than their American counterparts, now is the time to implement coastal resilience strategies to cope with the changing climate for decades to come. Some strategies include calculation of government agencies, businesses, and industrial sectors' carbon footprints and mitigating them through the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, implementing climate action plans and conducting numerous engineering projects, such as seawalls, surge barriers, and reconstructing water drainage systems to effectively prepare for rising sea within and around coastal cities. This report would not be possible without the extensive sea level rise inundation data from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Furthermore, the officials at the Florida Coastal Management Program and the Florida Resilient Coastlines Program, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and other county agencies who took the time to complete the survey I designed and share their thoughts and concerns during this research process. The survey that I distributed is also linked here. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out.